being loyal to someone should not mean that you're being disloyal to yourself. Hello everyone, thanks so much for joining me here today. If you're new, I'm Amanda. Welcome to the channel where we are all about shattering the mental health stigma. If you haven't already, please make sure you make sweet, sweet love to that subscribe button. Give the bell a few kisses so you're not missing any of this content designed to help you with your mental health or help you help someone else. Y'all, I love you dearly, but how has there been a new Linkin Park song out for 3 months that I have not heard of? I get updates from Linkin Park by email. I get updates from Mike Shinoda. Linkin Park saved my life. If you're new here and you don't know about that, you can watch my crawling analysis or my story blog, but I am just blown away that there's been a new Linkin Park song out for 3 months that I have not heard about. I'm very, very excited to get into this. I've been listening to Linkin Park for decades, and I love the fact that they're releasing new music recently that they apparently found from the before days, because it feels like we're still getting Chessence, as I call it, Chester's presence or Chester's essence. So I feel like we're still getting Chessence, and I'm so very grateful for that. So this is Friendly Fire by Linkin Park. Incredibly, my first time listening to it.
Tell me the words I've forgotten, what we were fighting for. Staring right into the darkness through an empty open door. Can't put back what's been broken, can't change the moment we went too far. We're pulling apart for no reason. We're pulling a trigger in a useless war. And if we come back or go into the black, what are we fighting for? What are we fighting for?
Okay, I'm going to pause right there so I don't interrupt Chester. But the inability to recall the initial reason for a fight highlights the potential loss of meaning or direction. And this can be due to depression or anxiety, but it can also be an internal battle with those self-destructive patterns that we feel like we can't break. It can also be a red flag in a relationship, because looking back, I can remember many fights in past relationships, so many fights vividly, but I have no idea what the fight was about or what started it. And I didn't even know the next day. I had no idea. The empty open door here might represent opportunities that feel meaningless or unappealing. So we have these opportunities like Chester would have had. Chester would have had many, many, many opportunities, but they just all feel meaningless and unappealing when we're in that darkness. And it is just indicating that sense of apathy and disconnection from life's possibilities, from the possibility that things can get better. I miss Chester so much. This is hard. This is really hard.
I was supposed to protect you, no matter what's to come. Somehow forgot when they told me we hurt the ones we love. Can't put back what's been broken, can't change the moment we went too far. We're pulling apart for no reason. We're pulling a trigger in a useless war. If we come back and go into the black, what are we fighting for? What are we fighting? It's just friendly fire.
Uh, I'm sorry, Chester. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. This has been a very long song, so it's a bit hard to know when to pause. Oh my God, we hurt the ones we love. This hits so hard because one of the things I personally struggle with most is feeling like I hurt and break the people I care about. That no matter what I do, I'm gonna hurt the people I love most. No matter what decision I make, it's going to hurt them. And I don't mean to. And I actively have to combat this thought because I'm just always constantly going, I hurt them. I hurt them. I didn't mean to hurt them, but I hurt them. But feeling like we failed someone, oof, that can lead to those feelings of inadequacy and guilt and self-blame. And we assume that if we had only done something differently, that things would have been better. When we just have no way of knowing that, guys. We have no way of knowing if one of us would have met Chester and said the right things. I've had that thought process before, is we cared about him so much, his bandmates cared about him so much, and I'm sure that they all go through the same process as well. Mike Shinoda was very transparent about that on his post-traumatic album, that we think, well, if we could have just met him, if we could have just called him, if we could have just said the right things, we have no way of knowing that. We have no way of knowing that things would have been any differently. And when it comes to our loved ones, and not just these parasocial relationships, so with the bandmates and stuff, they did the best they could. We do the best we can with the information and the skills that we have at any given time. And the idea that some things can't be fixed, they can't be undone, it's a heavy burden. Sometimes it's the truth, they can't be. It's a heavy, heavy burden that can lead to, again, this guilt, this remorse. This could reflect in those ruminating thinking patterns, those ruminative thinking patterns where we're preoccupied with past mistakes and the inability to change them. So we just ruminate endlessly on that. And I often like to remind people that we can't go back, but we can go anywhere else.
We're strangers in between the darkness, diving underneath. I'll find you out on the horizon. We'll never be enemies. Can't put back what's been broken. Can't change the moment. We went too far. Falling apart for no reason. We're pulling a trigger in a useless war. And if we come back and go into the black, what are we fighting for? What are we fighting? It's just friendly fire. Fire.
Like, he's still here and he's still just sharing that energy. And it's really strange to think that there will be a definite end now to it, to this music. We just never want it to end. And like I said, I'm so very grateful that these new songs are being released. I can't fathom how they weren't released years ago, but it's just such a haunting yet comforting feeling at the same time, which I think is really telling, actually, because the term friendly fire is it's a particularly interesting paradox in of itself, of these close connections that we have resulting in emotional harm. And this does an excellent job at exploring the paradoxical nature of relationships, be it with other people or the relationship we have with ourselves. I think that the strangers in the darkness, that suggests to me isolation. When you start isolating yourself due to the feelings that you're having due to that darkness. But there's that promise to find the other person on the horizon, and that reflects this hopeful search for connection to someone else or to something greater. Ugh, the pulling apart for no reason. And pulling a trigger and he uses war goes back to the theme of that meaningless conflict, and whether that's internally or with someone else. Now that I think about it, it could go as far as referring to chronic stress or unresolved trauma or emotional dysregulation, anything that makes you feel like you're trapped in this cycle of conflict and distress. I think that could refer to that. I needed this so much. This came at the perfect time. I wish I would have seen it when it came out 3 months ago, because I, as you guys know, was going through a lot of struggle a couple months ago, and things kind of fell apart. So I really could have used this 3 months ago, but I need it just as much right now as I'm building myself back up, coming out of that depressive episode I had. Oh, Chester's voice is just so healing and it's so comforting. It's been a source of comfort for me through the absolute darkest times of my life. Being sexually assaulted, losing my parents, those toxic relationships, all of these different things. And then, like I said, saved my life, brought me down from the ledge where I was ready to jump and end things. I think Chester's the one voice that I will always turn to when I need reason, when I need comfort, when I need validation. People would often ask, why haven't you heard of these artists, ones in the 80s, 90s? And I'm like, because I was listening to NSYNC. But when it comes to the early 2000s, because Linkin Park was pretty much all I listened to was Linkin Park, and then my older groups that I had listened to in my teen years, some Simple Plan in there, but mostly Linkin Park. And I just didn't really deviate from that because it worked for me. I didn't need anything else. That was what worked for me. That's what comforted me. So, albeit being a little late, thank you for bringing this to my attention. I think that I was just kind of swamped with emails and stuff and did not see maybe the updates on this. I didn't open the emails that were the updates on this, or I don't know. But I'm really grateful that it came into my life, into my realm of attention right when it was meant to. And I love you guys so much. I'm glad we can share this together. Thank you, Chester, for providing us with this, even when it's a ghost, even when it's your memory, you're still here providing us with this comfort. Thank you to the other members that decided to release this song, and to everyone here in the community for being here with me as I went through this. Make sure that you're sharing your mental health stories here in the comments, good, bad, and crazy. That's how we shatter the mental health stigma. Give this video a thumbs up. Share it so other people aren't out of the loop on new Linkin Park music. And I love you guys so much. I'll see you soon.